Good morning, Minnesota.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I'm in the tropics or the...
Welcome
On
back.
the farm.
Yes, this is very good. Welcome back to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason Stockwell.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge. Thanks for tuning in with us again.
We have Lisa Horn, who is the executive director of Veep in Bloomington, and they serve a large area. I don't know if you guys went over that already in the first couple segments that I missed.
We did.
But they're the largest in the area, correct, as far as food supply or supplying food, and all, amongst other things, you help out with other
That's
things as well.
correct.
So, so one thing I wanted to touch base on as we're getting healthier, hopefully, as a society, is Elliot Eisenberg said in his Friday file last Friday, in 2016, Americans for the first time consumed more bottled water than soda. Consumption of bottled water totaled 39.3 gallons per person, while soda consumption was 38.5 gallons per person. Soda is still tops as far as revenue generating at $39.5 billion in revenue, and then water is $29.3 billion in revenue. So that is a good sign. We're drinking more water than soda for the first time. And I know when I was at your facility, Lisa, you talked about you think of a food shelf and you think of donate to a food shelf. What do they want? Canned goods, right? Give them peas and all those things that have been in your pantry for the last 3 years that no one's opened. But you guys are very big on the fresh produce now and healthy stuff, correct? Is that what you guys are?
1.8 million pounds of fresh produce.
Nice. I'm glad I brought that fact sheet for you.
I love it. I'm kind of a geek when it comes to that kind of stuff. I love it.
Yeah, so about 52% of the food that we distribute, of the 3.4 million pounds of food, is fruits and vegetables.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And that's what people need, because the canned and the packaged and the produce we're seeing and hearing and learning, even though I still eat it, a lot of people still do, but that stuff is not sustainable for your health. In fact, it probably makes it worse and causes obesity and all those things.
Well, there's some foods that are canned and packaged, that are healthy for us. And we live in a climate where having fresh fruits and vegetables dips certain times of the year. And so
Yeah.
having canned or frozen vegetables and fruit is appropriate, right? And that's healthy food. So is whole grain noodles and brown rice. And so those are non-perishable foods. And when people do food drives for us and we receive that product, we love it because it provides variety on the shelves for our clients.
Yes.
Because our clients shop for their food, right? But definitely people who are income insecure, they suffer at higher rates of chronic disease that are impacted by the types of foods that they eat. And oftentimes the most healthy foods are the most expensive foods in the grocery store.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
The toughest, and then you pass on those because they're expensive. So I have a
Yeah.
question in regards to that. And Lisa, in the break, I said I was going to start grilling Lisa with some questions. So if you're thinking and you're out there listening, or you maybe are thinking, and you're thinking, well, what the heck? Is there really that big of a need? Is it, you look around, you don't see people starving and bones showing, and I mean, very rarely, unless they're usually on, it's like methamphetamine or something. But so is it overrated? Is the need for food shelves and food overrated? Are people abusing the system? Is this some sort of welfare program what's state funded or funded by taxpayers that people are using, where they may still have all their luxury items, but then they're blowing all their money on fun stuff, but then they come and take
Good
food?
question, Jason.
So-
Really, yeah, interesting.
I mean, I
Yeah.
hear that
Yeah.
side of it. There's a lot
No,
of
that's very
fiscally
really great
conservative
point.
and
I'm
believe
curious
me,
to hear the
I've
answer.
gotten used to responding to that question.
Yeah, so I'm curious to hear the answer.
Well, first of all, I think we need to pay attention to suburban poverty because poverty still exists in the United States. And suburban poverty in the Twin Cities area has grown 52% since 2008. So we had the economic crisis in 2008 where we had a poverty problem, and suburban poverty has continued to grow 52% since then.
Oh,
And so the economic crisis has gotten better for some, but not for everybody. We have people in our community, they're the working poor, and they are working and trying to make ends meet. But earlier we talked about our families and individuals spending 67% on their monthly income on
Rent.
rent or
Yeah.
housing costs, and that leaves very little room for those other basic needs like food. And so when we work with our clients, we say the food pantry is actually a budget assister. So if people can come to the food pantry because we can procure food and distribute it, for every $1 you spend in the grocery store, we can procure $10 worth of food just because of our partnerships.
Yep.
So if people can access a food shelf, it helps to supplement their monthly budget that goes to housing, that goes to medical costs, that goes to their transportation costs so they can get to work. So if you think about a food pantry in terms of that, then it reduces the stigma a little bit. So
If someone is in need of help, do they call a phone number? Is there a place
they can just walk
online that they
in, or-
can do? How does it help if
Right.
someone needs help?
Right. So people come to us in various ways. So lots of people know that we are a food pantry, but we're more than a food pantry. We also have social workers that help families holistically to achieve stability. We're co-located with Hennepin County, so some of our referrals come through Hennepin County. And we are one of the service centers for human services at Hennepin County. And also churches. People go to their churches. It's a common first stop for help, thankfully. And churches, we have dozens and dozens of church partnerships, and they know to refer families and individuals to us. We also have a website. I mean, people who live in poverty have access through public libraries and other means to use the internet, and it's common to do a Google search too, like the
Or
rest
they
of
go
us
to
do.
Veep and find out, or word of mouth probably too is
Word
one
of
thing.
mouth.
And the other question I had too in regards to that is, so when I remember being really young and we would go get help for food, but it was a big brick of cheese that was yellow,
Government cheese.
a
Yep.
a box
Commodities.
of powdered milk, and then bread. Those are the things they'd give away. So is that still around? I mean, that was probably in the mid 80s or something like that in Wisconsin, or maybe part of Minnesota too. But is that still around, or is it all kind of shifted towards your style, where you guys are doing a more comprehensive deal?
The look and feel of food shelves in 2016 and 17 look much different than the 80s. And we have a client choice model, which means clients shop for the food. The vast majority of the food that we have on hand is fresh and perishable food, including meat, cheese, eggs, fresh produce, deli items, bakery items. So it looks like a mini grocery store.
Wow.
And we do receive federal commodities, though federal commodity programs have changed in that we have a larger variety of federal commodities that come to us that we distribute. But then we also have partnerships with local grocers and retailers where we procure food that comes close to the food use-by date from every department in a grocery store.
That's awesome.
And hundreds of thousands of pounds of food come to us via local grocers.
When they're doing their inventory and they go through and they're saying this is getting close to expiration, clear the shelves.
They have to, right?
Dump that. They
there's
typically
a benefit
would
to
throw
them
it
to do
away,
that.
right?
Right.
Before, and now
It's-
they're donating it,
It
right?
saves them in waste costs. They have a tax benefit,
Yep.
and they're doing great for the community.
Well, I would
That's really
encourage you to
nice.
learn more about Veep. I'd encourage you to actually go there for one of their events. They have big 2 or 3 big events throughout the year. If you go
We
to
do.
veep.com,
Our
and you can find it. The gala's coming
Our
up, right?
gala is on May 19th. Check that out on
Yeah.
our
And
website.
if I go to your website, can I find out about the donate and do to get my team to
Yes,
participate?
in fact, you can sign up your team right online.
Awesome.
And if you know someone who needs help, please contact them as well.
Right,
Thanks.
veep.org.
Thanks so much, Lisa. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge with Remax Results.
And Stephanie Havel, Wells Fargo Home Mortgage.
Have a great week, folks. Love yourself and love others. And check out Veep.
Have a happy Sunday.
Bye.
There's always something happening.